Welcome back, space dreamers. Tonight, we journey far into the future, to a time when humanity has reached beyond the stars. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let your imagination travel, drift through the inky abyss of deep space. Vast and unknowable, feel the gentle pull of nothingness, the profound, velvet silence that presses in from all sides. Now, let a new form take shape in the darkness. Not a star, not a planet, but something built by human hands, yet far beyond human scale. It is the Leviathan, a colossal future space station, a vessel designed for voyages that measure not in years, but in millennia. Imagine its sheer immensity, an entire world encapsulated within a metallic shell, silent and inert. We approach it now, a ghost in the cosmic ballet, its vast form eclipsing distant nebulae. Its surface, once bustling with the energy of 1,000 lives, now reflects the cold starlight with an ancient, patient stillness. There's no hum of engines, no flicker of navigation lights, only the deep, profound quietude of a forgotten titan. Feel that quietude settling around you, a blanket of calm that invites curiosity rather than fear. This isn't a place of desolation, but of immense, dormant potential. The air around you is still, carrying no scent, no trace of movement, only the memory of breath. Allow your mind to simply be, suspended in this moment of arrival, on the precipice of discovery. The Leviathan waits as we draw closer. Feel the scale of this silent world pressing in. This isn't merely a station. It's a universe unto itself, crafted to sustain life for generations. A silent arc on an endless journey. Within its vast, intricate shell, countless systems lie dormant, awaiting a spark. Imagine the sheer engineering marvel. Sprawling hydroponic bays, sealed residential modules, intricate command centers, all veiled in an unbroken quiet. The air, though still, carries a faint, almost imperceptible metallic scent, a ghost of the immense machinery that once thrummed with purpose. Beneath the surface of its metallic skin, complex data conduits trace unseen paths, like dormant neural networks awaiting activation. You might almost perceive a faint, lingering echo of purpose, a memory held in the very architecture of its corridors and chambers. There are no alarms, no frantic warnings, only a serene stillness, a deep breath held for centuries. This silence is not empty. It is pregnant with stories, with the echoes of a past voyage, and the promise of a future yet to unfold. It's the kind of quiet that allows you to hear your own heartbeat, a gentle, rhythmic thrum in harmony with the profound stillness of the Leviathan. Let that peaceful rhythm guide you deeper, past the external shell, towards the very heart of this sleeping giant. Now gently we slip inside through an unseen, perhaps imagined, ingress. The transition is seamless, from the external void to an internal one, equally silent, equally vast. Here, the silence is even more profound, a tangible presence that seems to absorb all sound. Your senses adjust to the dim, ambient light that pervades the titanic internal spaces. A soft, violet blue glow emanating from unseen sources, illuminating outlines of immense, dormant structures. Ahead, the vague shapes of what might be overgrown futuristic biomes appear, hinting at lush, contained environments now frozen in time. Alien flora, adapted for artificial worlds, might once have flourished here, now just shadowed forms in the stillness. Imagine vast atriums, their atmospheres perfectly preserved, waiting. The air here, though contained, is crisp and cool, carrying the faintest whisper of ozone, a memory of distant, powerful systems. You perceive holographic data projections, perhaps flickering at the very edge of your vision, hinting at complex interfaces that once relayed vital information. This silent world, vast and empty, holds its secrets close, but it does so with a calm dignity. There is no rush, no urgency, only the patient waiting of a technological marvel, an entire civilization's dream, suspended in time. Breathe deeply, letting the immense calm of this forgotten future envelop you entirely. This is the Leviathan, a sleeping giant, ready to share its stories when you are ready to listen. Drifting past the immense, silent outer hull, your consciousness now moves through a cavernous entry lock, sealed for unknown ages. There is no sound of decompression, no hiss of air, only the soft, almost imperceptible current of energy that gently pulls you further inward. The faint metallic scent detected earlier now becomes a little more defined, mingling with something even fainter, like dust that has settled for millennia, holding the ghost of forgotten organic matter. Ahead, a long, wide artery of a corridor stretches into the indigo depths, bordered by dormant panels that once hummed with navigational data. Tiny, almost invisible motes of ancient dust dance in what little light filters in from the distant, unseen exterior, creating a slow, mesmerizing ballet in the profound stillness. As you continue to drift along this primary artery, the scale of the Leviathan truly begins to impress upon your senses. The corridor walls rise to an astonishing height, far beyond what any human-scale vessel would require, suggesting a design for beings of greater stature, or perhaps a different form of transit. Along these towering walls, recessed alcoves occasionally appear, containing silent, dark alcoves that hint at maintenance ports or small, personal access ways, now just shadowed gaps in the grand design. A subtle, cold cyan glow emanates intermittently from barely visible seams in the floor, just enough to outline the path ahead without disturbing the deep gloom. This faint illumination catches on the polished, dark gray surfaces, revealing the incredible craftsmanship that went into constructing this silent monument. Each panel perfectly aligned, each joint a testament to long-vanished precision. The quiet here is absolute, absorbing even the echoes of your own gentle, imaginative presence. Your gentle passage continues until the vast corridor begins to imperceptibly widen, its towering walls curving inward to suggest an approaching transition. Ahead, the deep gloom softens, giving way to a more expansive darkness, hinting at an enormous chamber beyond. Here, the first subtle signs of dormant, advanced technology emerge. Faint, ghostly etchings on the dark panels, almost like hieroglyphs of light, that pulse with the barest residue of energy. These patterns, like the intricate pathways of a sleeping mind, promise a complexity far beyond mere corridors. An occasional, soft violet shimmer briefly reflects off the distant, curving ceiling, a fleeting reminder of the immense power that once coursed through this silent Leviathan. You are nearing what feels like a central node, a place where purpose and path intersect, still veiled in profound quiet, yet teeming with potential. The gentle current, a subtle whisper against your imaginative presence, carried you further along the primary artery of the Leviathan. The colossal scale of the vessel continued to unfold, not just in its breathtaking width, but in an awe-inspiring verticality that stretched into an infinite, indigo gloom above. The polished dark gray surfaces of the walls, which had seemed uniform moments ago, now occasionally gave way to massive, segmented structural beams. These titanic supports rose like the ancient, petrified ribs of some mythical deep-sea creature, curving gracefully upwards, their forms disappearing into heights that defied visual comprehension, swallowed by the profound darkness. Each beam, perfectly proportioned and smoothed by unknown processes, seemed to absorb what little light dared to venture upwards from the floor below, leaving their upper reaches in eternal shadow. The subtle, cold cyan glow emanating intermittently from the floor, rather than merely outlining the path, began to reveal faint, intricate geometric patterns embedded just beneath the polished surface. As your imaginative drift continued, guided by the almost imperceptible energy current, the immense artery of the corridor gradually began to widen. The towering walls gently curved outwards, leading to an even more expansive, vaulted chamber that beckoned ahead. This was clearly not a mere passage, but a preliminary vestibule, a silent threshold to something far grander, a place designed for transition, and perhaps contemplation before deeper ingress. Here, the subtle cyan light from the floor, which had been your sole companion, intensified slightly, enough to cast longer, softer reflections across the dark, polished surfaces that now formed a continuous, curving expanse along the immense, arching walls of this chamber. Dormant interfaces became vaguely discernible, colossal, black mirror screens set seamlessly into the structure, their surfaces utterly inert, reflecting only the faint, cold glow from below. These were not screens in the conventional sense, but vast, dark windows into a forgotten digital realm, their potential light held captive by eons of disuse. Within this grand, silent vestibule, the sheer emptiness resonated with a profound sense of forgotten purpose, a deep, cosmic melancholy. Your imaginative presence drew closer to one of the colossal black mirror screens, its surface so dark it seemed to absorb light, creating a localized void, yet flawlessly smooth to the touch of your imagined awareness. Upon its edge, barely visible even with the floor's gentle illumination, were intricate, almost microscopic etchings, symbols and patterns that seemed to combine archaic geometric forms with hyper-advanced circuitry diagrams, telling a story in a language now lost to the ages. These were not mere decorations, but profound inscriptions, hinting at the core functions of this immense vessel, perhaps even its origin, or the philosophical underpinnings of its mysterious creators. The silent glyphs were a testament to a civilization that communicated not just through technology, but through art imbued with data. These etched details, so small against the monumental scale of the screen, invited a closer, almost meditative study, each line and curve a fragment of a vast, forgotten lexicon. Within the vast, dark mirror surfaces of the dormant interfaces, a faint shiver of iridescent cyan light began to trace impossibly delicate, crystalline patterns. These weren't reflections, but internal emanations, like dormant nerves awakening within the colossal screens. The geometric intricacies, previously only hinted at on the floor, now mirrored themselves on these towering panels, suggesting a hidden, interconnected logic that permeated the station's very structure. Each subtle pulse seemed to breathe a silent, ethereal life into the immense, blank expanses, suggesting an underlying intelligence that merely slumbered, awaiting a gentle stir. As these ghost-like patterns softly bloomed across the immense panels, a new detail began to manifest in the very air of the vestibule. High above, where the structural beams vanished into the profound darkness, faint, slow-moving motes of luminescent dust became visible, drifting with an almost imperceptible current. They caught the scarce cyan light from below, shimmering like distant, miniature nebulae. These cosmic particles, perhaps remnants of countless journeys, or simply the station's own slow exhalation, hinted at vast, unseen ventilation systems, gently circulating the ancient, purified air within this colossal, forgotten space. The expansion of the chamber continued to unfold as the floor's gentle current guided the silent journey. Ahead, the seamless expanse of polished dark surface began to subtly undulate, forming a series of concentric, low-rise terraces that gently sloped downwards towards a central, unlit depression. It was a graceful, almost organic architectural choice, designed to draw the gaze and the imaginative self deeper inward. Each terrace edge was softened by the lingering cyan glow, suggesting a slow, deliberate approach to the heart of this preliminary space, a patient descent into whatever mysteries awaited in its quiet core. The ancient air, now subtly stirred by the unseen systems, carried no scent of dust or decay, only a profound, clean emptiness that spoke of perpetual filtration and cycles of renewal spanning epochs. It was an air that had breathed star stuff and vacuum, purified by mechanisms far beyond human current understanding. The motes of cyan-dusted luminescence, once merely drifting, now began to exhibit a faint, almost imperceptible directional flow, a slow current guiding them towards the highest reaches of the arched vestibule. This gentle, upward draw was the only physical sensation of movement in the vast chamber, a silent current hinting at immense, slow-acting atmospheric processors deep within the station's colossal structure. The iridescent patterns on the dark mirror interfaces pulsed with a slightly increased frequency, each luminous ripple seeming to draw a breath from the rejuvenated air, a reciprocal exchange between the station's atmospheric heart and its dormant neural network. It was as if the very act of breathing was a shared process, an ancient machine slowly remembering its own vital functions, circulating both air and energy through its enormous, silent body. As the silent, upward current established itself, a new kind of resonance began to emanate from the immense, dark mirror screens. The intricate cyan patterns, previously confined to tracing delicate lines, now started to unfurl into more complex, three-dimensional forms, like glowing, crystalline foliage blossoming across the black expanses. They stretched and intertwined, suggesting not just data flow, but the mapping of vast, interconnected systems. Perhaps even the station's internal architecture laid bare in luminous schematics. A faint, harmonic hum, almost too low to register, began to vibrate through the very structure of the vestibule. A deep, resonant tone that seemed to rise from the station's core. It wasn't a mechanical sound, but an almost organic frequency, a sign that the Leviathan's enormous, slumbering intelligence was beginning to stir beyond mere aesthetic display, reaching for a deeper, functional awakening. The sheer scale of this nascent digital forest, growing silently across the colossal panels, hinted at the profound complexity that lay beneath the station's tranquil surface. A sleeping giant stretching its digital limbs, the growing digital forest of light reached higher, its crystalline branches now extending beyond the immediate panels, seeming to project into the air itself, creating ethereal, holographic suggestions of structures that were not physically present. These ephemeral projections, made of the same soft cyan light, began to outline grand, unseen pathways and immense, cylindrical shafts that ascended into the profound darkness above the vestibule, giving dimension to the previous hints of ventilation. It was an unfolding map, a spectral blueprint of the Leviathan's hidden circulatory and transport systems, made visible for the first time. Below, where the light originated, the floor's polished surfaces caught and refracted these new projections, reflecting a shimmering, inverted sky of data. The air itself felt subtly charged, vibrating with the latent energy of this awakening, as if the station was slowly pulling itself back from the edge of deep space slumber, revealing its intricate inner workings not through loud alerts, but through a gentle, shimmering emergence of light and form. The motes of dust, now suspended in this charged air, occasionally flared with an extra sparkle, momentarily catching an echo of the projected light. As the luminous flora expanded across the panels, a faint, almost imperceptible tremor began to ripple through the floor beneath, a gentle undulation that spoke of internal mechanisms stirring deep within the colossal structure. The resonant hum deepened, now carrying with it the subtle, complex rhythm of distant, massive power conduits re-engaging, circulating energy through veins far beneath the polished surface of the vestibule. It was a patient, ancient awakening, each thrumming vibration a pulse in the station's colossal, reawakening heart, a testament to its forgotten vitality. Within the intricate web of growing patterns, individual luminous strands began to coalesce, forming coherent structures that hinted at vast, internal pathways, like glowing arteries mapping the station's enormous circulatory system. A new, soft, deep violet light, previously unseen, pulsed rhythmically from the very core of some of the larger crystalline formations, casting long, wavering shadows across the dark floor. This violet glow, both alien and inviting, suggested not just data flow, but the presence of a deeper, more profound energy source, now slowly coming online, an ancient power stirring from a long slumber, the quiet symphony of low hums and subtle vibrations slowly intensified, not into a cacophony, but into a richer, more complex chorus, each note a facet of the Leviathan's burgeoning awareness. From unseen vents high above, a faint metallic scent, clean and sterile like ozone after a distant storm, began to permeate the vast air, a subtle signature of renewed atmospheric processing. It was as if the station itself was taking its first true breaths, the enormous entity shedding its millennia of stillness, stretching out its vast internal organs, slowly, deliberately, into a new cycle of existence. The violet light deepened further, painting the crystalline structures with an almost living hue, a visible shift from dormancy to active flow. From the luminous strands, previously mere conduits, soft, ephemeral projections began to bloom in the air, shimmering ghost-like lines, hinting at intricate data streams and the station's foundational architecture. A faint, clean scent, like distant ozone mingled with polished metal, now subtly permeated the vast vestibule, a whisper of newly circulating air as the ambient hum solidified into a rhythmic thrum. The ephemeral projections refined themselves, their ghostly lines coalescing into intricate fractal patterns that expanded and contracted with graceful, slow deliberation. These weren't random flashes, but coherent, complex schematics depicting vast internal maps of the Leviathan's circulatory pathways and hidden chambers. Slowly rotating in the still air, the gentle tremor beneath the floor transitioned into a steady, almost imperceptible pulse, a testament to the colossal environmental systems now drawing breath, circulating life throughout the vessel. Beyond the steady thrum beneath the floor, a new ethereal resonance began to manifest in the very air of the vestibule. It was a low, harmonic vibration, subtle yet distinct, like the faint, sustained chord of an immense, unseen choir, or the murmuring of a vast, slumbering consciousness beginning to dream. This resonance seemed to originate from the deepest parts of the structures, suggesting not just power flow, but the nascent stirrings of the station's profound intelligence. The soft violet glow across the panels deepened further, now interspersed with faint, shimmering arcs of cyan light, hinting at complex calculations unfolding within the awakening machine mind. The stars are waiting. If you enjoyed this voyage into tomorrow, subscribe for new journeys every week. The intricate fractal maps, once merely swirling suggestions, now solidified with elegant precision, resolving into tangible schematics that depicted the Leviathan's massive energy conduits, glowing with an internal violet pulse. The explorer could almost trace the pathways of newly awakened power, flowing like a silent river through the colossal vessel. Along the edges of these holographic displays, delicate textual overlays began to appear, shimmering into existence like dust motes catching a beam of light, displaying diagnostic readouts in an ancient, elegant script, confirming energy flow, atmospheric pressure, and core system integrity. It was a language of revival, a testament to the station's inherent resilience, silently informing any observer of its gradual, majestic return from slumber. The hum deepened, resonating not just in the floor, but through the very air, a low-frequency vibration that spoke of immense, re-energized machinery. As the violet light pulsed within the crystalline pathways depicted in the air, a synchronized glow began to manifest in the physical environment. Overhead, previously dormant ceiling panels, long veiled in shadow, now exhibited a faint, diffuse luminescence, slowly brightening from within. This soft, internal illumination, a cool cyan, spread gradually across the vast ceiling, revealing colossal structural beams and an array of dormant sensor clusters like slumbering metallic eyes. The polished metal surfaces of the vestibule, once reflecting only the distant violet, now caught the gentle cyan, creating shimmering reflections that rippled and danced with the subtle fluctuations of power. The clean ozone scent intensified almost imperceptibly, becoming more distinctly metallic, hinting at the vast, enclosed atmosphere now being fully filtered and circulated. A low, resonant chime, distant and deep, echoed through the cavernous space, a sound that seemed to vibrate not just the air, but the very marrow of the explorer's bones. It was not an alarming sound, but one of profound affirmation, a deep exhalation from the station itself. Following this chime, the holographic projections shifted again, their fractal patterns momentarily rippling like water before coalescing into a singular, central image, a softly glowing, stylized schematic of the station's primary access nexus, now highlighted in vibrant emerald. A previously indistinguishable section of the far wall, a vast expanse of seamless, polished dark metal, now subtly receded, a hairline seam appearing as if drawn by light itself. Slowly, with a whisper of displaced air, a colossal gateway began to part, revealing not another chamber, but a swirling, almost liquid curtain of deeper violet light, beckoning into the unknown depths of the Leviathan. The cool cyan light, initially a hesitant blush across the vast, domed ceiling, now flowed with increasing confidence, descending like a gentle, luminous cascade into the heart of the grand vestibule. It painted the immense expanse, meticulously illuminating the colossal structural beams, not merely as dark silhouettes against a distant glow, but as intricately crafted marvels of engineering. Their surfaces, once obscured, now revealed subtle, repeating patterns of ridges and grooves, suggesting an unknown purpose, or perhaps an ancient, symbolic language embedded in their very design. These patterns caught the cyan light, creating soft highlights that rippled with the station's gentle reawakening. The polished floor, a mirror-like expanse that had only offered fragmented reflections, transformed into a continuous, shimmering sea of light, perfectly mirroring the entire overhead canopy in an inverted, ethereal twin. Delicate, geometric designs, previously swallowed by profound shadow, now emerged on the metallic surfaces beneath the explorer's feet, drawing the eye towards the central axis of the chamber, suggesting a language of design, both functional and profoundly artistic, a silent blueprint of the Leviathan's core principles. As the cyan light continued its gentle reign, now having fully established its presence and illuminating every visible curve and facet of the grand vestibule. The violet holographic displays at the explorer's side became significantly more dynamic. They were no longer merely static schematics with shimmering text. They were living projections. The ancient, elegant script, which had been confirming initial energy flow, now flowed and rippled with greater complexity, transitioning from simple readouts to intricate, flowing visualizations of the colossal atmosphere being meticulously scrubbed and pressurized throughout the station's sprawling network. Swirling currents of virtual air, represented by tendrils of soft, ethereal violet light, indicated silent, powerful filtration systems drawing in centuries of accumulated stagnation and exhaling pure, exquisitely conditioned oxygen. These visualizations were mesmerizing, depicting a delicate ballet of particles and flows, a hidden dance of purification. Green indicators on the holographic overlays, previously sparse and hesitant, now blinked with a steady, reassuring rhythm across vast, interconnected sections of the station's immense environmental grid, signifying successful atmospheric stabilization and life support integrity in distant, unseen modules. At the far end of the grand vestibule, where the soft cyan glow from the ceiling lights tapered into a deeper, almost indigo shadow along the distant wall, a colossal gateway had remained inert, a seamless, monumental part of the polished metallic surface. Its immense presence had been almost swallowed by the sheer, overwhelming scale of the chamber, an unnoticed barrier among the vastness. Now, with the Leviathan's core systems fully engaged and its atmospheric processes stabilizing, a profound and mesmerizing change began to unfold upon its silent facade. along the monumental gateway's edges. A faint, deep indigo light, previously dormant for centuries, began to pulse with a slow, deliberate rhythm. It wasn't an abrupt, startling flash, but a deep, internal luminosity, seeping from within the massive structure itself, tracing the intricate, ancient glyphs etched into its surface symbols that seemed to whisper of forgotten purposes and pathways to untold sections of the station. The indigo glow intensified with a majestic, unhurried surge, not a harsh burst, but a gentle, growing radiance that precisely delineated the gateway's immense form, hinting at the complex, interwoven mechanisms and power conduits slumbering within. The steady, rhythmic blinking of green indicators across the holographic overlays painted a reassuring picture of the Leviathan's awakening. What had once been a dormant giant, a silent vessel adrift for centuries, was now gradually stirring from its profound slumber. The violet tendrils of light, representing atmospheric flow, intensified their elegant dance, no longer merely depicting purification, but now showing the vast currents being carefully guided through immense, unseen conduits that crisscrossed the entire station. The air in the grand vestibule, already exquisitely conditioned, felt subtly different, carrying a faint, almost imperceptible scent of ozone mixed with something ancient and clean, like rain on forgotten metal. A profound stillness pervaded the colossal space, yet it was a stillness now vibrant with the promise of reawakening. As the explorer watched, the static architectural schematics on the holographic displays dissolved, giving way to dynamic, three-dimensional renderings of the Leviathan's colossal structure. Amidst the panoramic unfolding of the Leviathan's internal geography, one particular section on the holographic map began to glow with a distinctive, warm emerald hue, brighter and more vibrant than the soft green indicators elsewhere. It was positioned deep within one of the habitat modules, far from the central axis, suggesting a remote and remarkably self-contained environment. The violet light tendrils representing atmospheric flow within this specific area pulsed with an accelerated, yet perfectly synchronized rhythm, depicting an internal microclimate far more active and dynamic than its surrounding dormant sectors. This wasn't just a system online. It felt like something living was at work, meticulously maintained even through the long centuries of the station's profound dormancy. The explorer's gaze narrowed, drawn inexorably to this singular, vibrant spot amidst the otherwise dormant grandeur. The ancient, elegant script on the display, now providing more detailed metrics, identified it simply as Sector Gamma-7, Biopreservation Anomaly. Anomaly, the explorer whose name, like a forgotten memory, was unpronounced in the silent corridors of Leviathan, took a deep, measured breath. The profound stillness of the grand vestibule, a monument to forgotten journeys, began to recede as they turned from the holographic displays. The emerald beacon of Sector Gamma Minus 7 beckoned, a vibrant whisper across centuries of dormancy. Moving with a grace born of countless hours spent in low-gravity environments, the explorer approached one of the many access points branching off the central chamber. A subtle pressure shift acknowledged their presence, and a segment of the polished, deep navy wall slid open with a whisper so soft it was almost imagined, revealing a long, gently curving corridor. This wasn't the expansive, vaulted space of the vestibule. Instead, it was a more contained thoroughfare, designed for function and long-distance travel within the colossal station. The gentle thrumming of the floor beneath the explorers' feet grew fractionally more distinct as they proceeded deeper into the station's labyrinthine network. Automated transport ribbons, long quiescent, now offered a slow, almost glacial glide, carrying the lone figure effortlessly further from the central axis. The violet light, which had bathed the initial segment of the corridor, began to give way to a subtly shifting palette. Occasional wall panels, rather than simply reflecting light, now emanated a faint, internal luminescence, a soft, diffuse green that foreshadowed the emerald intensity ahead. These were not the stark, diagnostic glows of machinery, but rather a warmer, more organic hue, hinting at the purpose of the habitat modules. The corridor itself started to subtly transform. The polished, metallic surfaces of the main access ways yielded to walls clad in a matte, fibrous material, a texture designed perhaps to absorb sound or to provide a tactile connection to something more natural. The path eventually opened into a series of interconnected hexagonal chambers, each one progressively warmer and more humid than the last. The earthy scent, once faint, was now undeniably present, a rich, fertile aroma that spoke of living soil and thriving flora, a profound contrast to the sterile perfection of the station's core. The diffused green luminescence from the walls intensified with each chamber, guiding the explorer toward the source of the anomaly. Finally, the series of chambers culminated in a grand, circular antechamber, dominated by an immense, intricately carved archway that seemed to have grown organically from the very structure of the station. This was no mere bulkhead. It was a threshold, adorned with patterns that echoed ancient botanical motifs, interwoven with delicate, almost impossibly fine conduits that pulsed with that unmistakable emerald light. Before the archway, a shimmering, almost invisible energy barrier hummed with with a barely audible frequency, a translucent veil separating the dormant world from the vibrant heart within. The corridor's matte, fibrous walls, designed to absorb every stray echo, guided the lone figure deeper into Sector Gamma-7. The gentle thrum, once a distant vibration, now resonated softly through the deck plating, a comforting undercurrent to the profound stillness. The faint, organic green luminescence, which had foreshadowed this region, intensified with each slow glide of the automated transport ribbon, bathing the passage in a soft, ethereal glow. The ribbon deposited the explorer not into another metallic chamber, but into a vast, enclosed biome, a sprawling internal landscape. Here, the air was cool and moist, carrying a delicate, clean scent of verdant aroma, utterly unlike anything found in the sterile reaches of the station's outer shell, blending hints of ozone with the earthy sweetness of growing things. This was not a wild, untamed forest, but a perfectly engineered and self-sustaining ecosystem, thriving in profound, almost sacred silence. Towering, bioluminescent flora, like intricate glass sculptures carved by light, reached gracefully towards a distant, simulated sky. Gentle waterfalls, their descent barely audible as whispers of water over polished stone, cascaded into placid pools where alien yet familiar aquatic life drifted in silent ballets of color and light. This exquisite balance, maintained over millennia by unseen automated systems, spoke volumes without uttering a sound. The silence here was not the oppressive hush of dormancy, but a living, breathing quietude, a testament to an ecosystem that had found its perfect, autonomous equilibrium, a rhythm born of deep time and self-sufficiency. The previous notion of a derelict vessel began to recede entirely, replaced by a profound sense of awe. This was no abandoned ghost ship. It was a sanctuary, a deliberate act of cosmic gardening, where life flourished in a meticulously crafted harmony that transcended any need for human intervention. The subtle hum beneath the explorer's feet, once perceived as mere machinery, now felt like the steady, unwavering heartbeat of an ancient, sleeping giant, infinitely patient, eternally purposeful. Every glowing leaf, every tendril, every ripple in the water conveyed a message of deep resilience and an enduring existence. The station, the Leviathan, was not merely transporting life, it was nurturing it, evolving it, in a grand experiment of self-sufficiency that extended far beyond any human design or timeline. It was a world within a world, slowly unfolding its silent, beautiful truth, a quiet revolution in cosmic evolution, patiently performing its grand task across the eons. As the explorer moved further, deeper into this living heart. The gentle thrumming of the colossal station intensified. Yet, paradoxically, it became even more profoundly soothing, a resonant bass note in the vast symphony of silence. The final path opened into a breathtaking central atrium, a true cathedral of living light and boundless space. Here, the simulated sky of the biomes was replaced by an immense crystalline dome, revealing the breathtaking, star-strewn canvas of deep space in all its serene majesty. Below, the entire meticulously crafted biome stretched out, a miniature world of glowing flora and serene waterways. Nestled under the distant, watchful gaze of nebulae and galaxies, the profound secret of the Leviathan wasn't a hidden archive of despair or a desperate plea from the past, but this very existence itself, a self-contained universe, perfectly isolated, eternally adrift, yet teeming with a specific, curated form of life that had evolved in its unique, protected crucible. It was a declaration of cosmic evolution beyond human touch, a testament to what unwavering purpose and infinite patience could achieve across uncounted millennia. The station was not waiting for an arrival, nor actively seeking a final destination. It simply was a silent, ongoing journey of unparalleled grandeur. The isolation, once conceived as a looming threat of loneliness, was now revealed as its profound strength, creating a perfect, harmonious, self-sustaining loop of existence, a living paradox of quiet power. Standing at the precipice of this vast, serene vista, the explorer felt a profound peace wash over them, a quiet understanding that transcended the need for further answers. The station's ultimate purpose, its silent, magnificent unfolding, was its own perfect reward. The subtle energy glows shimmering across the vast internal spaces, the gentle ripple of water in the pools below, and the distant, shimmering stars visible through the crystalline dome. All converged into a single, cohesive lullaby, a cosmic hum that invited deep introspection and peaceful rest. This wasn't an ending to a quest, but a gentle landing in a world that had mastered the art of quiet endurance. The immense grandeur of the Leviathan dissolved into a comforting, almost parental presence, a silent guardian in the infinite dark, carrying its precious, evolving cargo through the deep. A dream made real, drifting gently into tomorrow, forever. The explorer stepped through a threshold of shimmering light, leaving the vast, open spaces of the Leviathan's central axis behind. The air here was different, humid, rich with the scent of organic growth, and something subtly sweet, yet utterly alien. This was the Genesis Chamber, a monumental sphere of curated life, where the station's most profound evolutionary experiments unfolded. luminescent flora clung to crystalline structures that spiraled upward, reaching for the soft, pulsing light that filtered from an unseen ceiling. The ground beneath their boots felt soft, almost mossy, absorbing any sound, amplifying the profound silence into a palpable presence. Gentle ripples of internal energy flowed through translucent conduits embedded in the chamber walls, a circulatory system for a world within a world. As the explorer moved deeper, the source of the chamber's radiant energy became subtly clearer. Not a single point, but a network of soft, cyan filaments, woven like fine threads through the very air, pulsed with a rhythm so faint it was almost imperceptible. These energy strands, emanating from the crystalline structures themselves, nourished the flora directly, providing a gentle, constant stream of light and sustenance. Some of the plants, with broad, cupped leaves, seemed to subtly shift and angle themselves, not towards an external sun, but to absorb the energy from these glowing threads, drawing in pure, refined power. The ground, now a mosaic of bioluminescent fungi, glowed in response, creating intricate, shifting patterns of light that painted the explorer's path. The air felt charged, yet serenely calm, a silent hum of energy that was both vital and deeply peaceful. A unique species of plant, delicate and fern-like, unfurled its fronds with an impossibly slow, deliberate motion. Its leaves, a spectrum of deep violet to soft indigo, seemed to breathe, subtly absorbing the humid air and the diffuse light. Clusters of crystalline flowers, resembling miniature nebulae frozen in time, emitted faint, melodious chimes, too subtle to be heard with the ear, yet felt as a vibration deep within the chest. These chimes were not sound waves in the conventional sense, but resonant frequencies interacting with the chamber's energy field, creating a palpable sense of calm. The air itself seemed to hum with this ethereal music, a gentle, pervasive lullaby that harmonized with the low energy glows and the distant shimmer of stars visible through the overarching crystalline dome. This was the Leviathan's song, not of machines or voices, but of life itself, a quiet, profound melody of existence. The explorer paused, their gaze drawn to a cluster of flora, unlike any seen before. These plants, with petals like spun glass, shimmered with an inner luminescence that seemed to deepen and fade in sync with the subtle pulses of the cyan energy filaments. They were not merely absorbing light, they were responding to it, their delicate structures slowly unfurling as a pulse passed, then gently contracting, as if in a silent, cosmic breath. A single, large flower, positioned at the nexus of several glowing threads, began to slowly unfurl, revealing a core that glowed with an even more intense, pure light, casting ephemeral patterns on the soft, mossy floor around it. This wasn't merely growth. It was a conversation, an intricate dance between the life of the chamber and the energy that sustained it. A dialogue unfolding in profound, unbroken silence, drawn by a nearly imperceptible shimmer in the humid air. The explorer followed a winding path of glowing fungi that led deeper into the chamber. The air grew cooler here, and a soft, rhythmic droplet sound, so faint it was almost a whisper, began to emerge from the profound silence, rounding a towering crystalline formation. They discovered a tranquil pool, its surface perfectly still and reflective, mirroring the soft, pulsing cyan light from above. Water, crystalline and pure, seeped from fissures in the chamber's wall, forming slow, deliberate drips that created ever-widening rings on the pool's surface before vanishing without a trace. This was the silent heart of the chamber's hydration, a self-renewing spring nurturing the abundant life. Its gentle sounds a rare, soft lullaby in the vast quiet. Beyond the tranquil pool, the chamber's living architecture shifted. The vibrant, active flora gave way to colossal, ancient-looking crystalline structures, dark and inert, standing like petrified giants. Their surfaces were no longer iridescent, but matte, etched with intricate, natural patterns that spoke of eons of slow, silent growth. Nestled among these dormant formations were remnants of older botanical life, massive, brittle husks of what once must have been grand flora, now preserved in a state of arrested development. Their inner luminescence long faded. They seemed to hum with a forgotten energy, a quiet testament to the chamber's ceaseless cycle of growth, decay, and renewal, a living archive of silent evolution. The air here felt slightly drier, cooler, a gentle reminder of the slow passage of time. The explorer lingered at the edge of the crystal pool, mesmerized by the delicate ripples. With a soft, almost imperceptible shift, they continued their journey, following the winding contours of the chamber. The glowing fungi that had guided them thus far began to thin, replaced by a carpet of bioluminescent moss that pulsed with a gentler, more diffuse light. The path ascended slowly, a barely noticeable incline that led to a natural archway carved from the living rock, shimmering with minute crystal veins. Through this arch, the air felt fractionally cooler, carrying a hint of ozone, a distant electrical presence, subtle yet unmistakable, blending with the organic scents. Beyond the arch, the chamber opened into a broader expanse, its ceiling arching higher, like a grand cathedral. Here, the organic life began to interweave with dormant technological structures, great curving conduits resembling ancient tree roots snaked across the cavern floor, glowing faintly with an internal cyan light. They converged upon a massive, circular platform, its surface etched with intricate, geometric patterns that suggested complex data flows. In its center, a colossal, crystalline console stood silent, bathed in a soft, ethereal violet glow. It radiated an almost imperceptible hum, a deep resonance that vibrated more in the explorer's bones than in their ears, an invitation to a deeper understanding. The explorer moved with a quiet reverence towards the crystalline console. Each step on the patterned platform was soft, almost unheard in the cavernous expanse. The violet glow deepened as they drew closer, revealing an inner luminescence within the console's polished facets. Intricate glyphs, previously unnoticed, began to surface across its surface, not etched, but appearing as if woven from threads of faint light. Like constellations in miniature, they seemed to shift and coalesce, hinting at a language far beyond human understanding, yet strangely inviting. The hum intensified slightly, a gentle pressure against the eardrums, less a sound and more a subtle vibration felt deep within the core. With a slow, deliberate movement, the explorer extended a hand, their fingers hovering just above the console's cool, smooth surface. Before contact was even made, a ripple of shimmering light emanated from the point of their approach, spreading across the crystalline expanse. The violet deepened to an amethyst hue, and the interwoven glyphs flared, briefly outlining complex, three-dimensional structures that then receded into the console's depths. A soft, almost melodic chime, felt more than heard, resonated through the platform. A single, sustained tone that seemed to echo from the very heart of the station. This gentle awakening signaled a deeper connection, a preliminary handshake between the ancient technology and the lone human presence. The air grew subtly warmer, carrying a faint, sweet scent of distant, blooming flora, a surprising organic note in this technological sanctuary. As the explorer finally touched the console, a vast, ethereal panorama bloomed from its center. Not a blinding flash, but a slow, unfolding display of iridescent light that coalesced into a three-dimensional holographic map. It depicted the colossal structure of the Leviathan itself, its intricate internal pathways glowing with a delicate network of cyan and gold, stretching far into the simulated void. Tiny, luminous nodes pulsed softly across the map, indicating active systems, a surprisingly intricate web of life and machinery that still functioned within the derelict vessel. This visual tapestry was a silent narrative speaking volumes of the station's immense scale and its forgotten journey, a hushed testament to a bygone ambition. The deep hum of the console now resonated with a richer, more harmonic overtone, as if the station itself was slowly drawing a quiet, deep breath, preparing to whisper its long-held secrets. The scent of ozone returned, now intertwined with the faint flora, suggesting the reawakening of far-flung, self-sustaining biomes across the vast, silent ship. The single, sustained tone from the console began to evolve, weaving itself into a gentle, resonant chord that seemed to fill the vast space, yet never disturb its profound silence. The amethyst light pulsed in harmony with this sonic tapestry, not intensely, but with a deep, internal rhythm that suggested a vast, slumbering intelligence was slowly rousing, acknowledging the explorer's presence. As the explorer maintained their connection, their fingers still hovering just above the cool, smooth surface, a sense of patient anticipation settled over them. The intricate glyphs on the console's surface no longer merely outlined structures. They solidified into luminous, three-dimensional projections that hovered just above the crystalline plane, shimmering with an ethereal quality. These were not mere diagrams, but intricate architectural blueprints, vast and complex, depicting entire, multi-layered sections of the Leviathan. They shifted with fluid grace, revealing networks of gleaming conduits, colossal habitation zones, and previously unknown chambers, all rendered in a delicate, cold cyan light that contrasted beautifully with the deeper violet of the console, like distant, nebulae drawn into being within the cavernous atrium. The emerald glow on the far wall intensified further, solidifying into a distinct archway that shimmered with an inviting, almost liquid light, casting soft green reflections across the polished, crystalline floor. The soft, multi-tonal chord emanating from the console settled into a sustained, harmonious drone, a gentle lullaby for the awakened behemoth. Its vibrations, a comforting presence that filled the immense space without ever becoming overwhelming. With a barely audible sigh, a vast section of the polished wall beneath the archway began to retract, slowly and silently dissolving into the station's depths, revealing the intricate, silently moving machinery of its operation, only for a fleeting, almost ghost-like moment before it was gone. It revealed not a dark, sterile corridor, but a luminous passage bathed in a uniformly warm, verdant light, markedly different from the cool violets and cyans that dominated the grand atrium. The sweet, humid air, now rich with the distinct, intoxicating scent of unfamiliar blossoms, damp soil, and freshly growing foliage, flowed freely from this opening, enveloping the explorer and beckoning them closer with an almost tangible pull. This was the source, the living heart of the Leviathan's hidden ecosystem, long conjectured, but never before confirmed, a testament to its self-sustaining ingenuity and foresight. The explorer hesitated only a moment, drawn forward by an invisible current of warm, perfumed air. Each step from the crystalline coolness of the grand atrium into the verdant passage was a subtle crossing of thresholds, a gentle surrender to a new environment. The polished floor here was not cold, but pleasantly temperate, almost damp to the touch, and underfoot, a soft, yielding resilience, unlike any synthetic material known. The uniform green luminescence wasn't harsh, but seemed to breathe, a soft glow emanating from the walls themselves, illuminating minute particles of mist that danced in the humid currents. The air tasted of fertile soil and sweet, unidentified nectar, a complex bouquet that promised life in a place previously thought to be an echoing shell. The quiet hum of the Leviathan, once a distant comfort, now seemed to merge with the subtle rustling sounds that began to filter through. A delicate, almost imperceptible symphony of growth. As the explorer moved deeper, the passage narrowed slightly, and the living architecture became more pronounced. The walls weren't merely illuminated. They were comprised of an interwoven tapestry of fibrous plants, their tendrils and broad, waxy leaves forming a seamless, organic skin. Some sections pulsed with a deeper emerald, others with a shimmering, almost translucent lime, creating patterns that shifted with an unseen, gentle rhythm. Miniature, star-like blossoms, impossibly delicate, dotted the verdant expanse, their faint perfume adding new layers to the humid air. The flora seemed to grow directly from the station's structural framework, merging with the metallic surfaces in a way that defied conventional biology, suggesting a symbiosis far beyond human comprehension. Fine, almost invisible capillaries of light-traced intricate pathways beneath the surface of the leaves, hinting at an internal circulatory system, a living network sustaining the entire biome. The verdant passage, after several long, winding turns, finally began to widen, the walls receding gracefully as the uniform glow intensified, hinting at an even grander space beyond. Then, with a slow, breathtaking reveal, it opened into a cavern of unimaginable scale. This wasn't merely a chamber. It was an entire ecosystem, a colossal, hidden world bathed in a soft, ethereal green light that filtered down from a vast, domed canopy far above, studded with what appeared to be thousands of miniature, bioluminescent suns, great ancient trees, their trunks impossibly thick and textured with glowing mosses, stretched towards the distant ceiling, their broad, frond-like leaves forming multiple tiers of verdant architecture. A gentle mist perpetually hung in the air, catching the light and creating luminous halos around the massive botanical structures. Below, unseen rivers or channels gurgled softly in the distance, their murmurs a new, comforting melody in this awakened heart. The path ahead, illuminated by the internal glow of the living walls, deepened the sense of an ancient, breathing entity. The fibrous plant tapestry here wasn't merely decorative, it was structural. The broad, waxy leaves not just clinging to the metallic framework, but intrinsically woven into it, their bases flaring out like the buttresses of colossal trees. A low, resonant hum, barely perceptible, emanated from within these organic columns, suggesting a hidden flow of energy, a complex biological circulatory system mirroring the station's mechanical one. The air grew slightly warmer, thick with the scent of damp earth, and something akin to blooming night jasmine, a perfume both alien and comfortingly familiar. The star-like blossoms, previously scattered, now formed luminescent constellations along the passage, their light shimmering with a subtle, internal pulse that seemed to sync with the explorer's own heartbeat. The polished floor, once resilient, now felt almost alive. A soft, velvety moss spreading thinly across its surface, absorbing the sounds of footsteps, making progress through the passage an exercise in profound quietude. This wasn't a section merely overgrown, but fundamentally re-engineered by life itself. A symbiotic evolution that had transformed inert materials into something profoundly biological and enduring. As the explorer continued, the botanical integration shifted, becoming more deliberate, less wild. The living walls began to part, not with a mechanical hiss, but with the silent, graceful unfolding of broad, bioluminescent leaves, revealing polished obsidian-like panels embedded within the organic matrix. These panels, smooth and dark, seemed to absorb the ambient light. Yet, at their centers, tiny, intricate patterns of soft cyan light began to bloom, like frost flowers forming on a winter window. Each pattern was unique, a complex fractal radiating outwards, hinting at a hidden interface or information source. A subtle shift in the resonant hum indicated an interaction, a recognition of presence. The air, now less earthy, carried a faint, metallic tang mixed with the sweet, unidentified nectar, suggesting proximity to more sophisticated, yet still biologically integrated systems. It was a space designed not just for life, but for communication, a silent, unfolding dialogue waiting to be reawakened, an invitation to touch the station's living memory. With a gentle touch upon one of the glowing cyan patterns, the entire obsidian panel shimmered, and a low, harmonious tone resonated through the passage. a sound that felt more like a vibration deep within the explorer's own chest than an external noise. The luminous botanical walls around them responded, their emerald and lime pulses deepening, quickening, as if the entire biome held its breath in anticipation. The panel receded silently, dissolving into the living architecture to reveal not another passage, but a vast, circular chamber. Here, the canopy was a domed expanse of interlocking bioluminescent leaves, filtering light like a stained glass window of living emeralds, casting a gentle, dappled glow onto a central, calm water feature. The water, impossibly clear, mirrored the glowing canopy above, reflecting soft light onto giant, crystalline structures that rose from its depths, resembling dormant, multifaceted organic growths, or perhaps ancient data cores, a faint, sweet melody composed of rustling leaves and the subtle murmur of water filled the air, a symphony of organic life in perfect harmony with the station's silent, advanced machinery. It was the heart of the Leviathan's living systems, a place where time itself seemed to slow to the rhythm of gentle growth and patient waiting. The explorer, drawn by the subtle invitation emanating from the silent panels, extended a gloved hand towards the polished, obsidian-like surface. There was no rush, no sudden movement, only a profound sense of inevitability, as if this precise moment had been patiently waiting across millennia, an unspoken promise held within the station's slumber. As the explorer's fingertips gently brushed the cool, smooth panel, the intricate patterns of soft cyan light, previously blooming like frost flowers, flared with a slow, deliberate intensity. The ethereal light deepened, spreading outward across the dark, reflective surface like a network of awakened neural pathways, tracing unseen energies that pulsed beneath. A low internal vibration, distinct yet subtle, pulsed from the very point of contact. It wasn't a jarring sound, but a profound, tactile hum, a resonant frequency that traveled through the explorer's gloved hand, up the arm, and settled deep within the chest. A quiet melody felt rather than heard as the explorer maintained this gentle contact. The radiating cyan patterns on the panel began to resolve into shimmering glyphs. These were not symbols of any known language, nor did they require conscious decoding. Instead, they conveyed information directly to the mind, a silent torrent of data flowing without effort, like dreaming with open eyes. Memories of the station's colossal purpose, its millennia-long voyage through the interstellar void, and the enigmatic, silent departure of its original inhabitants, all streamed into the explorer's awareness. This influx was filtered and calm, devoid of urgency or distress, painting vivid, ephemeral images of stellar nurseries and ancient Earth-like vistas that had once inspired the Leviathan's design. The cyan light deepened further, transitioning from a soft glow to an almost liquid brilliance, revealing faint, yet perfectly formed holographic projections that materialized just above the panel's surface. These projections unfolded slowly, depicting vast, star-swept nebulae in exquisite detail, swirling arms of distant galaxy clusters, and the intricate, elegant schematics of the Leviathan itself, rendered in luminous detail against the deep void. Guided by this unfolding intelligence and the subtle violet beckoning, the explorer gently withdrew their hand from the obsidian panel. As contact was broken, the radiant cyan patterns softly receded, leaving behind a faint, lingering afterglow that pulsed like a memory on the dark surface. The previously subtle widening in the polished floor now parted completely, not with a sound, but with the fluid grace of water, revealing a wide, arched entrance. Beyond, a cavernous space emerged, its immense scale breathtaking, yet entirely devoid of echoes. This grand chamber was dimly lit by a pervasive, soft violet luminescence that seemed to emanate from colossal, crystalline structures. These majestic formations pierced the high ceiling, their facets shimmering with an internal, cool light, as if they were giant, dormant geode hearts. The luminous schematics of the Leviathan began a gentle, internal animation, morphing from static diagrams into a living, breathing blueprint of intricate systems. Lines of cold cyan light, like neural pathways igniting, traced the flow of simulated energy through colossal conduits and along the delicate framework of hidden mechanisms that spanned the station's immense form. The holographic display zoomed in slowly, passing through the outer hull and into the very heart of the vessel, revealing the majestic scale of its generation systems. Here, simulated fusion cores pulsed with silent power, their elegant crystalline structures glowing with a soft, internal warmth, providing lifeblood to the entire colossal journeyer. With each subtle shift in the light and each new detail unveiled, the data flow, still gentle and unhurried, clarified the profound purpose of these intricate heartbeats to sustain millennia of silent flight, safeguarding untold ecosystems within its shielded confines. A universe engineered for endless voyage through the interstellar void. It was a vision of profound, self-contained existence, a testament to a grand ambition now held in tranquil dormancy. As the simulated energy pathways settled into a tranquil rhythm, their cyan glow gently receding, the holographic display gracefully transitioned. The focus shifted from the mechanical heart to the intricate biological soul of the Leviathan, its vibrant, internal landscapes. Above the panel, new projections bloomed, depicting vast, enclosed biomes, sprawling emerald forests beneath softly glowing artificial suns, crystalline rivers flowing through silent valleys where unseen breezes stirred the leaves, and shimmering oceans where bioluminescent flora drifted in gentle currents, mirroring distant constellations. Each ecosystem, meticulously detailed, pulsed with an almost imperceptible vitality, a testament to the station's profound commitment to sustaining life in all its delicate forms. The data now whispered of biodiversity beyond Earth's wildest dreams, of intricate atmospheric regulations maintaining perfect climate cycles, and of the delicate balance maintained over countless light years of lonely travel. The explorer felt the tactile hum from the panel subtly deepen, a low, resonant thrum that seemed to echo the silent, thriving life within these projected worlds. A continuous heartbeat of organic creation, beating softly against the immense silence of space. The vibrant, self-sustaining ecosystems on display began to subtly intertwine with faint, almost ghostly images of the original inhabitants. They weren't direct, sharply defined figures, but rather ethereal impressions, like memories lingering in the air. The gentle ripple of water as an unseen hand stirred a bioluminescent pond. The soft impression on a mossy path where a silent foot had once trod, or the delicate glow of a data slate held by a phantom presence beneath a towering, engineered tree. These were not memories of individuals, but pervasive echoes of a shared existence, a species living in quiet harmony with the constructed natural world around them, interacting with their living vessel as if it were an extension of their own tranquil minds. The cyan light, which had been so brilliantly active, now softened further, taking on a wistful, almost melancholic violet hue, as if reflecting a collective memory of departure rather than presence. The profound silence of the station seemed to deepen, not with emptiness, but with the quiet weight of millennia of absence, a gentle sigh carried on the void. The final piece of data flowed, completing the serene, yet poignant picture of a species that had, after an immeasurable span of time, simply and silently moved on, leaving their living legacy to drift through eternity. The low thrum resonated not just within the panel, but seemed to subtly vibrate through the very deck plating beneath the explorer's feet, guiding an unspoken attention, as if in response to this deepening connection. A section of the shimmering wall adjacent to the holographic display began to subtly phase, its smooth, metallic surface slowly growing translucent. Behind it, a muted, verdant glow became discernible, a soft green light filtering through what appeared to be an obscured gateway. It was the promise of one of the projected biomes, not merely an image, but a tangible reality awaiting entry. Its presence, a silent invitation, the intricate lattice of energy conduits traced across the wall's surface, pulsed with a faint, internal cyan, defining the contours of the concealed entrance with elegant precision. With deliberate, unhurried movements, the explorer turned from the console, drawn towards the newly unveiled threshold. The air around the phasing wall grew subtly different, a fraction warmer, carrying a faint, clean scent that hinted at distant soil and rain-washed leaves, a ghost of earthly ecosystems within the immense void. The cyan lines defining the gateway's edges now held a steadier, almost welcoming luminescence. There was no sound, only the silent beckoning of the light, the verdant hint deepening, becoming less obscured as the barrier continued its gradual retreat into the wall's depths. It was a slow unfolding, designed for a species accustomed to the patient rhythms of deep space voyages. A seamless transition from one state of existence to another. A final, almost imperceptible sigh of displaced air marked the gateway's full retraction. Before the explorer lay an antechamber, bathed in the soft, diffused emerald light that permeated the biome beyond. The floor here was not cold metal, but a warm, springy composite, almost like compressed moss, subtly yielding underfoot. The air was distinct now, undeniably fresh and moist, entirely devoid of the recycled flatness of the control deck. Just ahead, through a transparent membrane that shimmered like a heat haze, the first actual glimpses of the interior world unfolded. Towering, bioluminescent flora with leaves that unfurled in slow, dreamlike motions, catching and refracting the gentle, artificial sunlight that streamed from a distant, unseen source high above. It was a contained paradise, an encapsulated pocket of vibrant life suspended in the silent void. The final vestiges of the phasing wall melted away, receding into the seamless architecture of the station, leaving behind a wide, unobstructed archway. The verdant glow, once muted, now flowed outwards in a gentle cascade of emerald and jade, bathing the explorer in its soft luminescence. The air that seeped through was distinctly different, richer, carrying the deep, earthy scent of damp soil and the fresh, almost sweet perfume of unseen blossoms. It was a primal aroma, utterly alien to the sterilized, recycled air of the station's core, yet strangely comforting, a forgotten memory of a world left far behind. Beneath the faint cyan lines that still traced the archway's precise edge, the air felt a fraction heavier, imbued with a gentle humidity that promised lush growth. No artificial light panels illuminated this inner world. Instead, the light itself seemed to emanate from within, a deep, pervasive luminescence that suggested a complex, self-sustaining photosynthetic cycle with a deliberate slowness that mirrored the patient unfolding of the gateway itself. The explorer took the first step across the threshold. The solid deck plating beneath their feet gave way to a soft, yielding surface, a layer of fine, dark soil interwoven with a subtle, resilient root network. Each step was cushioned, a gentle compression that felt profoundly different from the rigid artificiality of the station's corridors. The air immediately thickened, a palpable humidity settling upon the skin, a refreshing coolness that carried the scent of deep earth and verdant growth more intensely. It was as if stepping into an entirely different world, a distinct atmospheric envelope meticulously maintained within the Leviathan's immense hull. The gentle light from within the biome diffused softly, painting the immediate surroundings in gradients of green and shadow, hinting at unseen structures and greater expanses beyond the entrance. Fully immersed within the biome's embrace, the explorer paused, allowing the new sensory landscape to wash over them. Directly ahead, a gentle slope descended into a vast, open space where towering, bioluminescent flora reached upwards, their glowing tips acting as natural beacons in the soft emerald haze. These plants were unlike any terrestrial species, their forms intricate and elegant, some resembling colossal, glowing ferns, others like multi-limbed crystalline trees, their leaves shimmering with an internal light. Small, silvery rivulets of water, fed by unseen sources, snaked their way between patches of luminous moss, creating soft, gurgling sounds that quickly faded into the pervasive quietude. The air here was pristine, an ecosystem meticulously balanced, filtering and recirculating itself with an efficiency that bordered on the miraculous. Looking back, the entrance archway, now a simple, unadorned frame of dull metal, seemed distant, almost forgotten, a mere gateway between two vastly different realities. The soft, yielding surface beneath the explorer's feet was not uniform soil, but a living tapestry of interwoven roots and fine, dark substrate. Luminescent mosses, like delicate emerald dust, traced intricate patterns across this ground, pulsating with a gentle, rhythmic glow that seemed to breathe in time with the explorer's own quiet steps. Taller, slender stalks of flora, unseen in any Earth botanical database, rose around them, their broad, waxy leaves unfurling in slow motion, catching and diffusing the pervasive green light. Each plant seemed to exist in a state of suspended animation, a slow dance of growth and decay imperceptible to the human eye, yet palpably present in the deep quietude. The air, rich with the scent of a primal, undisturbed forest, hummed with a low-frequency energy that resonated more with feeling than sound. A deep thrumming of life beneath the quiet. As the explorer moved deeper, the ground subtly guided their path. There was no obvious trail, but the arrangement of the root network, the slightly less dense patches of glowing moss, and the gentle lean of the taller flora seemed to indicate a direction. Each step was a deliberate, almost meditative act, sinking slightly into the soft earth, the silence broken only by the faint, soft crunch of the microroot systems beneath their boots. Overhead, the canopy of alien leaves began to thicken, filtering the pervasive light into more distinct rays and pools of soft emerald, creating an ethereal, dappled effect. The air remained perfectly still, yet carried a profound sense of ancient patience, as if this interior world had been quietly evolving for millennia, undisturbed by the passage of time or the emptiness of the void outside. After a stretch of quiet movement, a new sensory element gently revealed itself. The soft, almost inaudible murmur of moving water. Rounding a gentle curve in the living pathway, the explorer discovered a shallow, luminous stream winding its way through the root systems. Its surface, a liquid mirror reflecting the verdant glow of the biome, was impossibly clear, revealing smooth, polished stones and more varieties of bioluminescent aquatic flora beneath. The water itself seemed to be charged with the same gentle energy as the air, glowing faintly as it flowed with unhurried grace. This serene waterway reinforced the ecosystem's complete self-sufficiency, a vital pulse running through the heart of this colossal, silent world, sustaining its vibrant, alien life in the deep space void. As the explorer advanced, the canopy overhead began to thin in places, allowing glimpses of a new, distant sky. Not the emptiness of space, but a vast, curved vault of subtly shifting, pearlescent light. This was the true ceiling of the biome, an immense, crystalline dome arching far above, its surface diffusing the station's ambient energy into the pervasive emerald glow below. Faint, intricate lines, like veins of captured light, pulsed rhythmically across its inner surface, suggesting a colossal, integrated network supporting this enclosed world. The scale was breathtaking, a silent testament to an engineering marvel that mimicked cosmic expanses within a manufactured shell. The gentle lean of the flora, combined with a subtle increase in the ground's firmness, began to direct the explorer towards a specific point. Here, the glowing mosses converged at the base of a smoothly arcing ramp, seemingly carved from the living root network itself, yet feeling impossibly smooth and cool to the touch. it ascended gradually, disappearing into a softly lit archway that seemed to promise a transition, a passage from the organic heart of the forest into a new, yet equally quiet, domain. The air here carried a fainter, almost metallic undertone beneath the primal forest scent, a whisper of the station's core structure. The ramp ascended without effort, bringing the explorer into a broad, circular antechamber where the flora thinned, giving way to a more deliberate arrangement of smooth, obsidian-like panels embedded with slow-pulsing light veins, mirroring the ceiling above. In the very center of this clearing, a solitary, crystalline structure rose, perhaps 2 meters tall, resembling a petrified, multifaceted flower. Its facets caught the diffuse emerald light, refracting it into a delicate, silent dance of soft color upon the surrounding panels. A barely perceptible, melodic hum emanated from its core, a gentle heartbeat in the profound stillness. Unlike any natural sound, the explorer placed a hand upon the smooth, cool surface of the ramp, its material a stark contrast to the organic textures left behind. It felt almost like polished obsidian, absorbing the soft emerald glow from the forest floor, even as it guided upwards. Each gentle step was a deliberate movement. The faint, comforting crunch of microroots gradually fading, replaced by the hushed resonance of their own boots on the resilient, unyielding path. The air grew perceptibly cooler. The rich, humid scent of alien growth giving way to that subtle metallic whisper, now clearer, more defined. The archway ahead, bathed in a soft, internal luminescence, drew them onward, a silent invitation to the unseen domain beyond. Stepping through the archway was like crossing an invisible threshold into an entirely different dimension of silence. The ramp opened into an immense, hushed chamber, a cavernous space where the pervasive emerald light from the biome was replaced by a deep, soft violet hue, emanating from unseen sources high above. The walls were impossibly smooth, curving upwards and outwards, crafted from a seamless, dark material that absorbed sound, creating a profound emptiness. There were no discernible seams, no visible joints, just vast, unbroken surfaces that spoke of an ancient, advanced construction, waiting patiently in the quietude. Along one immense curve of the chamber, a series of colossal, hexagonal panels began to emerge from the darkness, flush with the wall. They were utterly unlit, yet their surfaces possessed a subtle, internal sheen, reflecting the distant violet light with a faint, cold cyan edge. These panels were not merely decorative. Their intricate, almost invisible etchings hinted at dormant energy conduits and information pathways, a sleeping network beneath the polished surface. The profound quiet here felt less like absence and more like a held breath, a vast, waiting system poised for awakening. The immense chamber stretched out, an inverted dome of profound stillness. The soft violet light, previously a distant glow, now enveloped everything, emanating from the very fabric of the seamless walls above. It wasn't harsh, but deep and comforting, casting no distinct shadows, merely bathing the vastness in an ethereal twilight. The air, though subtly metallic, was perfectly still, carrying no currents, no drafts, only the absolute absence of sound. The floor beneath, a continuation of the same dark, polished material as the walls, reflected the violet light like a placid, silent lake, amplifying the sense of infinite space. This was not merely a room, it was the grand atrium, the silent heart of the Leviathan, patiently awaiting a breath it had not felt in centuries. With slow, deliberate steps, the explorer began to move deeper into the atrium. Each footfall was swallowed by the sound-absorbing material, creating no echo, no reverberation, only a sensation of weightlessness in the profound quiet. The dark floor, so perfectly smooth, felt cool and unyielding. As they ventured further, a faint, almost imperceptible vibration began to register beneath their boots. A deep, resonant hum that seemed to emanate from the very structure of the station itself. A sleeping giant drawing a slow, silent breath. It was less a sound and more a deep-seated sensation. A whisper of dormant power stirring within the colossal frame, guiding them onward into the serene immensity. The subtle hum grew a fraction clearer, drawing them towards the precise center of the colossal chamber. Here, rising majestically from the reflective floor and disappearing into the violet-tinged heights, was a towering central pillar. Its surface, like the walls, was impossibly smooth and dark, yet intricately etched with what appeared to be dormant conduits, complex patterns of unlit energy pathways. It was a monolith of purpose, radiating an unseen potential energy, a silent promise of dormant systems waiting. As the explorer neared, a faint, cool cyan glow began to pulse almost imperceptibly from within the etched lines, a soft, ethereal heartbeat in the heart of the Leviathan. The deeper the explorer ventured, the more the subtle vibration intensified, a pervasive, low thrum that resonated not just through the floor, but seemed to course through the very air, a silent pulse in the vast stillness. It felt like the slow, deep breath of a titanic entity, barely stirring from a long slumber. High above, where the colossal dome curved into the unseen ceiling, a series of enormous, dark apertures slowly became discernible, like the mouths of dormant, immense tunnels. From within these, a fainter yet distinct, deep violet glow pulsed with the rhythm of the thrum, hinting at the true scale of the station's internal architecture. These were not mere decorative elements, but portals to other, equally immense sections of the Leviathan, each promising new depths of quiet mystery. The silence, though absolute, was now punctuated by this internal beat, a rhythm that was both alien and strangely soothing, guiding the explorer's gaze ever upwards into the heart of the station's dormant power. Moving slowly towards one of the massive, curving walls, the explorer noticed an intricate, almost invisible filigree of light woven into the dark material itself. It was not a projection, but an embedded network, a dormant circuit board of immense proportions, faintly outlined in a cold, cyan glow. This intricate network, sprawling across the vast surfaces, suggested an intelligence far beyond mere structural integrity. It was the skin of a living machine, waiting. Closer inspection revealed that the cyan lines converged on specific points, forming patterns that resembled ancient constellations, or perhaps a language entirely alien. Each intersection was a hub, a dormant node in a massive, interconnected system, now silent, but for the pervasive, deep thrum. The discovery was a whisper of the Leviathan's true complexity, an indication that every surface, every vast expanse, held a deeper, unrevealed purpose, encoded into its very being. As the explorer's presence lingered before the cyan-threaded wall, one of the intricate constellation-like patterns subtly brightened, its cold glow deepening ever so slightly. A single, ephemeral shard of light detached from a node and drifted slowly, soundlessly, across the smooth surface. It was not a projection, but a luminous particle, moving with a dreamlike slowness, tracing a path that formed a fleeting, geometric symbol before fading back into the wall. This was the Leviathan's first visible, albeit subtle, acknowledgement. It felt like a gentle, almost imperceptible exhalation from the slumbering giant, a quiet breath of data or energy stirring. The profound silence of the atrium seemed to deepen around this tiny, luminous event, making the fleeting symbol feel immense in its significance. The station, though derelict, was not entirely inert. It registered, it responded, even if only with a spectral light. The explorer's hand, gloved and deliberate, drifted towards one of the cyan-etched nodes, a point where countless luminous threads converged. As fingers neared the dark, cool surface, a faint warmth, barely perceptible, seemed to bloom from within the node. The cyan glow, already soft, deepened almost imperceptibly, a quiet breath of energy, as if the ancient circuit beneath acknowledged a presence after eons of slumber. It was not an awakening, but a stirring, a micro vibration against the vast stillness, a hint of latent power responsive to touch. This silent greeting suggested that the Leviathan was not merely a structure, but a vast, interwoven intelligence, patiently waiting. The intricate patterns, previously observed as static beauty, now hummed with a potential resonance, a language of light on the verge of articulation. The subtle pulse from the node spread, not outward into the air, but inward along the cyan filigree that spiderwebbed across the colossal surface. Like a ripple through an impossibly vast, frozen pond, the adjacent lines brightened, then dimmed, revealing a transient sequence of intricate symbols. They flared into existence for a heartbeat, alien glyphs formed of pure light, before receding back into the cold, almost invisible network. It was a fleeting glimpse into a hidden language, a momentary whisper of data flowing through dormant conduits. Each symbol seemed to shift and reconfigure, a microburst of information that vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only the lingering sense of immense, unreadable knowledge. The wall itself seemed to breathe with this fleeting luminescence, a momentary awakening of its profound, silent memory. As the last of the ephemeral glyphs faded, leaving only the steady, deep thrum and the soft cyan network, the explorer slowly withdrew their hand. The silent dialogue with the wall had ended, leaving behind a profound sense of the Leviathan's hidden depth. A new understanding, though fleeting, seemed to infuse the immense space. Turning slowly, their gaze now settled on one of the colossal, dark apertures high above, where the deep violet glow pulsed with its slow, rhythmic beat. These immense gateways, once merely a distant feature, now felt imbued with a renewed significance, a direct invitation. With a quiet resolve, the explorer began a slow, deliberate traverse across the vast expanse of the floor, moving towards the base of the nearest colossal portal, drawn by the promise of further silent revelations within the Leviathan's enigmatic heart. The subtle interaction had shifted the perception of these dormant paths from silent mysteries to impending thresholds. The faint, transient symbols, having whispered their momentary secrets, did not vanish entirely. Instead, their ephemeral light gathered, coalescing along the fine cyan strands, drawing together into a cohesive, slow-moving current. This current, a river of gentle illumination, began to trace a path across the colossal surface, not randomly, but with a deliberate, almost guiding intention. It flowed towards a section of the wall that only moments before had appeared utterly seamless and inert. The explorer's hand, still hovering near the initial node, felt the subtle shift in energy, a cool undercurrent now giving way to a directed warmth, pulled gently at their attention. The silent world of the Leviathan was not just reacting, it was beginning to point the way, a quiet invitation to follow its luminous, ancient pulse. The intricate network, once merely a dormant tapestry of light, transformed into an illuminated map, charting a course known only to itself. Following this silent guide, the explorer carefully moved, their steps hushed on the polished, cool floor that absorbed all sound. The luminous stream led them to a circular indentation, barely visible before, now highlighted by the coalesced glow. Within this recess, a collection of smaller hexagonal panels, previously indistinguishable from the surrounding surface, began to pulse with a low, rhythmic thrum of soft violet light, mirroring the slow beat of a deep, unseen heart. It was an interface, not overt or demanding, but subtly revealing itself, like a flower blooming in slow motion in the deep vacuum of space. The warmth from the filigree intensified slightly at this point, a clear signal, an undeniable beckoning. The air, though recycled and pure, seemed to carry a faint, metallic tang, a whisper of latent energy stirring in the immense structure. With a slow, deliberate motion, the explorer extended a gloved finger towards the central hexagonal panel, its violet light now gently radiating outward, a warm invitation. As contact was made, the panel did not click or whir, but absorbed the touch with a profound, almost liquid silence. From its surface, a faint, holographic projection shimmered into existence, not as sharp images, but as an ethereal cloud of nascent data. It was a swirling nebula of soft light, coalescing into abstract, organic shapes that hinted at vast internal structures. Arteries of power, silent chambers, and dormant biomes stretching into the station's unseen depths. This was the Leviathan's quiet opening, a first, gentle breath revealing the immense, intricate landscape of its inner world, a world held captive in stasis for untold eons, now beginning to dream itself awake. The silence of the station deepened, not with emptiness, but with the profound quiet of immense information beginning to stir. The warmth from the filigree intensified slightly at this point, a clear signal, an undeniable beckoning. The air, though recycled and pure, seemed to carry a faint, metallic tang, a whisper of latent energy stirring in the immense structure. The explorer's hand, guided by an invisible current of energy, settled gently onto one of the hexagonal panels. It was cool to the touch at first, then rapidly warmed, a soft pulse reverberating through the material and into their fingertips. The violet light deepened, now thrumming with a more pronounced, yet still incredibly soft frequency. The adjacent panels responded in kind, their individual glows sinking into a unified, slow wave, like a quiet breath rippling across the surface as the warmth permeated the explorer's hand. The soft thrumming escalated into a barely perceptible harmonic hum that seemed to resonate within the very bones of the Leviathan. Across the activated hexagonal array, intricate patterns began to manifest, not as harsh lines, but as delicate, luminous filaments of cyan light weaving through the violet substrate. These patterns coalesced, forming elegant, flowing glyphs that did not belong to any known human language, yet conveyed a profound sense of ancient knowledge. They pulsed slowly, each glyph a tiny galaxy of information, hinting at forgotten protocols, or perhaps the very origin of the colossal vessel. The light from these glyphs cast long, dancing shadows across the polished floor, the only movement in the vast, still space without further input. The central hexagonal panel, which had pulsed most vibrantly under the explorer's touch, began a slow, silent transformation. Its surface rippled, not like liquid, but as if made of malleable light, then subtly retracted inward, folding itself into an unseen recess within the wall. Behind it, a deep, velvety darkness unfolded, revealing not a mechanical cavity, but a tunnel of shimmering, iridescent light that stretched into the distance. It was a passage, illuminated from within by a soft, undulating aurora of blues and greens, beckoning the explorer deeper into the Leviathan's heart. The metallic tang in the air grew slightly stronger, now accompanied by a faint, sweet ozone smell, as if passing into an environment charged with pure, unbridled energy. The luminous current that had guided them flowed directly into this newly opened path, a silent invitation to continue. Delicate, luminous filaments of cyan light, woven into the violet substrate of the hexagonal panels, began to swirl with a slow, deliberate grace. No longer static, the intricate glyphs shifted, coalescing and reforming, telling a story without words. They seemed to map constellations unknown to human astronomy, then transform into intricate, flowing conduits, as if depicting the very circulatory system of the immense station itself. This visual dance was accompanied by a subtle deepening of the harmonic hum, a vibration that resonated not just in the panels, but now seemed to emanate from the very polished floor beneath the explorer's feet. A gentle, pervasive thrum that spoke of ancient power stirring from a long slumber. The air, already carrying that metallic tang, felt subtly charged, a premonition of grander awakenings. As the glyphs continued their silent exposition, a new element began to manifest. From the periphery of the explorer's vision, the cyan light, once confined to the hexagonal array, started to bleed onto the smooth, dark expanse of the chamber's floor. It moved with the same slow, fluid rhythm as the glyphs, not as a harsh beam, but as a diffuse, almost ethereal glow. This nascent luminescence gradually formed a distinct, winding path, tracing a broad, luminous river across the polished surface. The path beckoned, seemingly directing the explorer's gaze and steps towards a specific, previously indistinct direction within the cavernous space. The air's metallic tang grew a shade sharper, a taste of ozone now mingling with the whisper of latent energy, suggesting a more direct flow of power coursing through the reawakening vessel. The luminous path of cyan light, shimmering faintly on the polished floor, drew the explorer's gaze deeper into the colossal space. Following its gentle curve, a monumental structure slowly resolved itself from the ambient gloom at the far end of the chamber. It was a vast, arching doorway, its colossal frame intricately carved with patterns that echoed the glyphs on the panels, yet scaled to a breathtaking degree. The spreading cyan luminescence now embraced its edges, causing ancient filigree along its frame to faintly glow, illuminating what appeared to be a set of colossal, dormant doors. A soft, almost imperceptible hum, deeper than anything felt before, emanated from the archway. A low vibration that seemed to promise entry into an even more profound, hitherto hidden section of the Leviathan. This was not merely an architectural feature, but a threshold, slowly awakening to the silent call of the reactivated systems. The explorer's steps, light and measured, began to follow the luminous river of cyan light. It wasn't a hurried journey, but a slow, almost meditative procession across the vast chamber, each deliberate movement a testament to the profound stillness that enveloped them. The light beneath their feet pulsed with a gentle inner rhythm, a silent guide in the deep quiet of the Leviathan. Every softly placed footfall seemed to resonate with the pervasive thrum, a low harmonic vibration that had settled into the very bones of the station, a deep, comforting hum that spoke of dormant power gently stirring, a slumbering giant beginning to stretch. The air, though subtly charged with the faint, clean taste of ozone, remained perfectly still, free from any discernible current or draft, preserving the pristine, undisturbed atmosphere of this ancient vessel. Passing through the silent, glowing archway, a soft exhalation of cool, fragrant air greeted the explorer as they stepped into a chamber of truly colossal proportions. This new space felt entirely different from the vast, crystalline atrium behind them, exchanging its stark geometric elegance for a sense of organic majesty. Here, the polished dark floors gave way to a tessellated surface of interlocking hexagonal plates, each radiating a faint, internal luminescence that shifted from a soft cyan at the edges to a warmer, organic green towards the center. The pervasive thrum intensified slightly, not jarringly, but with a deeper, richer resonance that felt like the very heartbeat of a living, breathing entity. A sound felt more in the chest than heard with the ears. The air in this new space carried a faint, sweet, earthy scent, a stark, refreshing contrast to the metallic tang of ozone they had just left, hinting at natural processes held in delicate balance. Towering, skeletal structures, reminiscent of ancient, primordial trees, rose gracefully from the glowing floor, reaching towards an unseen, distant ceiling far above. The path, now an ethereal river of intermingling cyan and green, guided the explorer deeper into the heart of this vast biome, past the silent, petrified flora, revealing the intricate details of their dormant state. Each tree was a marvel of bioengineering, its towering form a testament to advanced ecological design. Their bark, a smooth, pearl-like substance, seemed to shimmer with an inner light, while their leaves, a dense weave of luminous fibers, even in slumber, retained a faint, pulsing hint of stored energy. These weren't truly plants as humanity knew them, but complex, self-sustaining constructs designed to mimic and enhance natural ecosystems, perfectly adapted for the enclosed, long-duration environment of a generation ship. The sweet, earthy scent grew more pronounced with every step, a phantom fragrance of growth and vitality held in perfect abeyance, a promise of life to come. As the luminous path curved and widened, a colossal, crystalline structure came into view at the chamber's precise center. The explorer's gaze drifted upward, tracing the intricate, scaffold-like branches of the colossal structures that pierced the dimness of the immense chamber. They weren't sculpted wood, nor forged metal, but seemed woven from countless translucent strands of something akin to solidified light, a crystalline lattice that pulsed with the same soft, organic green as the tessellated floor beneath. It was a silent, botanical marvel, a testament to an unseen bioengineering. Closer inspection, as the explorer paused beneath the gentle arc of one such tree, revealed the true complexity within their vast, transparent frameworks. Faint rivulets of luminescent fluid could be discerned, tracing slow, deliberate paths, like sap through ancient, subterranean vascular systems. This gentle, rhythmic circulation, visible only upon careful attention, harmonized with the station's deeper, pervasive thrum, a quiet, almost imperceptible symphony of mechanical and organic life. This living architecture, both delicate and monumental, seemed to drink the subtle light emanating from the hexagonal plates underfoot, absorbing its cool energy. Moving further along the tessellated path, the explorer approached one of the larger crystalline trees, its base notably wider, rooted more deeply and securely into the glowing hexagonal floor. There, subtly embedded within its translucent, latticed trunk, at a comfortable eye level, was a smooth, dark surface, elegantly distinct from the living crystalline structure around it. It was perfectly flush, seamless, a patch of obsidian-like material within the emerald glow, its texture hinting at a composite of natural and engineered elements. As the explorer drew near, the surface shimmered with an almost imperceptible ripple, a faint internal light stirring beneath its obsidian veneer, a quiet awakening that spread outwards like rings on still water without direct physical touch. Only a breath away, holographic tendrils of soft, verdant light unfurled from the surface, coalescing into intricate, flowing glyphs. These weren't alphanumeric characters or words in any known human language, but rather elegant, organic patterns that seemed to depict sophisticated biological processes, mesmerizing diagrams of cellular division, intricate nutrient flows through unseen conduits, and complex photosynthetic cycles rendered in luminous green and soft cyan. Stepping back gently from the activated interface, the explorer allowed the holographic glyphs to slowly recede, the obsidian surface returning to its inert, dark sheen. A quiet close to a profound interaction. With this new understanding, a different perspective began to form, a deeper appreciation of the grand design of this colossal chamber. Following the upward sweep of the crystalline branches, the eye was drawn to where they converged far above, not into a single point, but into an intricate, vast canopy that stretched across the entire immense space, a living ceiling of woven light and unseen biomatter. From this immense, interwoven latticework, delicate filaments of soft, diffused light descended like shimmering rain, bathing hidden tiers and unseen platforms in a gentle, warm glow. It became abundantly clear that these towering trees were not merely aesthetic embellishments or singular energy conduits. They were the central nervous system of a sprawling, multi-tiered biome, a colossal, self-contained world suspended high above the hexagonal, glowing floor. The deeper thrum of the station resonated with this profound realization, a comforting confirmation of the Leviathan's enduring, complex vitality. The explorer watched, mesmerized by the silent ballet of light. Each glyph, intricate and delicate, flowed into the next, building a complex tapestry of biological instruction. It was as if the station itself was breathing out its secrets, a profound treatise on life, rendered in the ethereal glow of pure energy. The patterns shifted, showing the delicate dance of ribosomes within a cell, then zooming out to illustrate the vascular system of a vast, unseen organism, perhaps the station's own internal ecology. A profound sense of reverence settled over the explorer, a quiet acknowledgement of the intricate intelligence woven into this silent world. The soft cyan currents highlighted metabolic pathways, while the verdant greens illustrated growth and regeneration, painting a living blueprint across the obsidian canvas. As minutes drifted into an unmeasured expanse of time, the individual patterns began to resolve into larger, interconnected narratives. They weren't merely diagrams, but dynamic simulations, showing entire ecosystems in miniature, the birth and death of microscopic flora, the slow, purposeful currents of nutrient-rich fluids flowing through engineered biomes. The explorer noticed a recurring motif, a singular root-like structure that seemed to be the central node of every displayed process. It pulsed softly, a deep violet heartbeat within the verdant and cyan flows, suggesting a core intelligence or a primary life support system for the entire station. The air itself, though still, seemed to hum with this silent unfolding. A resonance felt deep within the chest, rather than heard with the ears. Without conscious thought, the explorer's hand, still gloved, instinctively rose, hovering just above the shimmering surface where the violet core pulsed. A faint, reciprocal warmth seemed to emanate from the light, a gentle invitation. The tendrils of light, previously static in their flow, now seemed to lean towards the approaching hand, drawing closer without actually touching. The display broadened, subtly altering its perspective, as if anticipating interaction. It offered a clearer, more detailed view of the central violet pulsation, revealing it to be not just a structure, but a complex, almost sentient nexus of energy and information, echoing the delicate thrum of the station itself. The boundary between observer and observed began to blur, a silent dialogue commencing between humanity and the Leviathan's deepest secret.